Hi and welcome to this digital presentation about elevated printing. I'm Kimberly and I'm going to take you into the world of 2.5D embossed printing, and I will show you some examples of prints and tell you everything about how and where elevated print can be applied. So let's begin. The first question, what exactly is elevated printing? With elevated printing technology, we create the most beautiful structures by layers of ink. After printing, the layers are immediately dried by UV LED lighting. And because the layers are printed exactly on top of each other, a relief will be created. We can create height up to a maximum of 1 mm. That maybe sounds lower than it looks like, but 1 mm of print is about 40 layers of ink. So you can imagine that it can create a very high relief. The height created during printing provides a completely new experience in the world of print and interior. You can no longer only experience the print image optically, but you can also actually feel the structures, which offers a lot of possibilities and opportunities for every interior and exterior. To start making an elevated print, you need a digital graphic design. This can be a photo, a drawn vector image, or whatever, as long as it is a digital file with a resolution of 300 dpi. The height is indicated in the file by black and white data. Black is the highest, white is the lowest, and all shades of grey in between vary between the highest and the lowest point of the relief. To make the height file readable for the printer, I use touchstone software. This software has the ability to create a print-ready file for our flatbed printer. So we do not send 40 separate jobs to our printer, but the software merges all layers and makes them readable for the printer in one file. To learn more technical details about the process, a digital presentation about the touchstone software is also given on this digital Interzoom exhibition. So you can watch it for more technical information if you want to. When the product is printed, it can still be finished with a protective coating. I will tell you more about this later. In this video, you will see a time-lapse of how height printing is carried out in practice. This is a print that consists of approximately 14 layers. The print starts with a number of layers of black ink in which the height layers are built up. The lowest lying parts are first colored white, so that when the color layer is printed, all parts have a bright white background, after which the higher parts follow. The same goes for the color detail. When the layers of white are sufficient, the color layer is applied. So the lowest lying parts are provided with color first, and the higher parts follow. When the last layer is done, you will have a fully finished product. The choice of the surface to be used has a large diversity. An important aspect in this is that the surface must be flat and have a maximum size of 3 by 2.5 meters. The thickness of the substrate may not exceed 5 centimeters. For interior, it's important to use surfaces on which good adhesion can be created. For example, think of wood such as MDF, oak, birch, or other materials like glass, acrylics, bio-based materials, Debond or Forex, for example. The choice of material depends on the appearance and durability that the end product should have. Elevated printing opens magical doors in interiors. The creative freedom is one of the biggest advantages. In this short video, you can see how a color flip over effect is given by means of a height print. If you come from the left, the pattern is red, and if you come from the other side, it is suddenly green. There are plenty of options for playing with optical magic in this way. By using the 2.5D printing technique, it is possible to make combinations with materials that previously seemed impossible. Think of a leather print on glass, or pebbles on the wall or ceiling. It's a whole new experience that is offered to interiors with an unlimited number of possibilities. I always say, creativity is the only limit you have. As I said, the application of elevated printing is endless. We apply it to wall decoration, art paintings, braille, stained glass, furniture, and a lot more. Braille, known as the legible dots for blind and partially sighted people, are often printed. Consider, for example, the numbers of hotel rooms, information boards, and menu cards. It's also possible to print shapes in height. The lines are printed in height, so that drawings and shapes can be felt by blind and partially sighted people. In the following slides, you'll see some examples about the possibilities for the other apply options. This is a perfect example of a wall decoration. In this way, different materials can be combined with each other. In this case, we combined wood and shells in one design. By printing all this in one go, in 2.5D, you can create the most special effects on the surface that you want. An MDF surface was chosen for this hotel room, but lightweight materials can also be used for this. The wall decoration can be used practically everywhere. For example, in hotels, offices, houses and shops. Who doesn't want a real work of art in their home or office? A work of art where you can feel the brushstrokes, where people think it is an original painting and only you know that it's not. Elevated printing gives the experience of a real painting. And where real paintings are often only one of them, it is now possible to easily make reproductions of existing paintings or even just create a digital painting and print it. In this photo you see a close-up of a cupboard door with all wood scales. When people want this in their interior, they often run into the fact that this is a very expensive product given by the labor intensity. By using 2.5D print, the labor intensity is greatly reduced and the personalization of furniture becomes easier. It can be applied to many pieces of furniture. Consider for example tables, chairs, doors, but also cabinets and stools. This is one of my personal favorites. Stained glass. The bright semi-transparent colors with the high printed LED lines give a fantastic new dimension to stained glass. Where round shapes are often a problem with real stained glass, you can be completely free in print. So you can choose round shapes but also figures and choose every color you want. The LED lines printed in height give a very rich appearance. It is even possible to print the glass on both sides. This creates even more depth. Another option is to use it with double glazing. The stained glass image is printed on one side of the glass, after which the print is locked between the glass panels. In the following slides, you'll see some examples of photos and videos from elevated printed projects. I will give some brief explanation about them. These are photos of the stained glass panels from the previous slide. In this design, the choice has been made for red and 2 shades of blue, but here you can choose any desired color and design you want. The first video shows a classic stained glass design. In the previous photos, the lines were a bit harder and black. Here, grey LED lines and a classic color combination of yellow, red and green have been chosen, which give the whole a slightly more classic overall look. In the second movie, you see an oak pattern with a black grid. Here you will think that this black grid is printed on an oak wood, but nothing could be further from the truth. This design is fully 2.5D printed on MDF surface. The oak and grid are both fully printed. The next is a stitched ladder look. It is clearly visible what small detail can be used. The stitching is slightly higher than the ladder structure. And a nice touch to know, when you feel the print, it feels like real leather. This is a great example of a large format print. The panels have a size of approximately 2 by 3 meters. The image is not printed in relief, but I think it shows a good idea of the possibility of large format prints. This is also an example of a work of art. A high-resolution scan was made of the original, after which the scan was converted into a height file. By scanning the original painting, it is possible to make a reproduction that is as faithful as possible to the real painting. Elevated print can be used by absolutely anyone. The product offers a lot of possibilities. I often work with architects, designers, artists, interior builders, shipyards and project developers. This collaboration is not only about printing, but is also about designing and giving advice on color use, surfaces and how to apply. By the way, the image for this slide is an example of a combination of finishes. Here it was printed on a metal brass coated surface. The world map is printed in relief, so it pops out of the surface. With a transparent coating over the print, it is possible to give a matte, satin or high gloss finish to the print. This makes the product extra user-friendly and it will have a higher durability than it already had. Extra protection is often applied to parts that are often touched or objects that are daily used. Consider for example floors, desks and chairs. It is also possible that your product does not necessarily need the extra protection, but it can aesthetically match your product to provide the print with a different gloss or more depth. The example in the picture has an epoxy layer over the print. The combination of the height of the print with a poured epoxy layer gives the image even more dimension and a more luxurious appearance. I hope I've been able to give you a good impression of the possibilities of elevated printing. I will answer your questions as best as I can through the live chat. Our company details can be found here, so if you are interested or have any questions, feel free to contact me.